Welcome to Sovereign Reality with Natalie, a podcast for women done playing small. I'm Natalie, metaphysical guide and metaphorical keeper of the flame. Each week, we will channel the power of a different goddess, her myth, her message, and her medicine, so that you can rise, reclaim, and remember who the hell you are. The world doesn't need you quiet, babe. It needs you lit up. So let's rise. Welcome back, loves. Today we're diving into a goddess who has been praised, polished, dressed up in white, and politely shoved into the corner of quote-unquote pure knowledge. But underneath that tidy image, she's a force of sound, a river of wisdom, and the reminder that patriarchy has never been able to silence the feminine voice. I'm talking about Saraswati. Now, if you've ever seen pictures of her, she's dressed usually in a white sari with a serene face and a veena in hand. So you might think she's some quiet, bookish kind of goddess. The kind of woman patriarchal culture wants you to be: brilliant but contained, wise but not threatening, pure but not too loud. But when we look deeper into her story, Saraswati shows us something else entirely. She's the embodiment of sound, speech, and the flowing, uncontrollable nature of truth. And once you hear her story through a feminist lens, you realize she is the goddess of rebellious expression, not polite silence. Saraswati begins not as a goddess on a lotus, but as a river. In Vedic hymns, she is a mighty, roaring, nourishing river that carves her own path across the land. She gives life, she cleanses, and she floods. Rivers don't ask permission. They don't sit still. They move where they please with power and persistence. That's Saraswati in her earliest form, complete, unapologetic flow. But if you've been listening to these past few episodes, then I think there's all one thing that we can agree on about the patriarchy. It does not like wild rivers. It does not like women who overflow. So as the centuries passed, her image shifted. The fierce river goddess was slowly reshaped into something more respectable. She became Brahma's consort. She was rebranded as the goddess of polite knowledge. So books, music, philosophy. Beautiful, yes, but suddenly framed in relation to a man. And this is the pattern. A woman is powerful, independent, sovereign. Then she gets rewritten as someone's wife, someone's helper, someone's accessory. And that's exactly what happened to Saraswati. In the old myths, she literally gave Brahma the ability to speak. Without her, the act of creation would have been silent. But instead of celebrating her as the force of sound and speech, the story gets twisted into she supported her husband, quote unquote. You see what happened there? The feminine was essential, but the patriarchy made her secondary. Now, here's both the paradox and the kind of juicy part. Saraswati is the goddess of speech itself. She is Vak, the voice, the word, the vibration that creates reality. Think about that irony. Patriarchal culture has spent thousands of years trying to suppress women's voices. Don't speak too much, don't speak too loud, don't speak at all. And yet the goddess who holds the entire Vedic tradition together is literally a woman's voice. This just goes to prove that you can try to silence women, but you cannot silence Saraswati. Every time we open our mouths, every time we sing, every time we write, she's moving through us. She is the breath that refuses to stay locked up. Now, let's talk about that imagery of Saraswati draped in white, serene, and detached. She becomes the goddess of quote-unquote pure knowledge. Notice how different that is from Lakshmi with her glittering wealth, or Durga with her roaring lion and weapons. Saraswati gets cast as the quote-unquote good girl goddess. She's calm, unadorned, and intellectual. That's patriarchy again. When feminine power can't be denied, it gets sanitized. Saraswati wasn't allowed to be messy, sensual, passionate, so she's put in white and told to sit quietly on her lotus. But remember the roar. Saraswati is not just the quiet muse of scholars, she is the torrent of truth. I was first introduced to Saraswati in yoga teacher training. So if you listen to my last episode with Kuan Yin, I do talk about my teacher training a little bit. And I remember specifically we had to do kirtan, and I had a majorly blocked throat chakra for most of my life. I really wasn't good at expressing how I felt, and a lot of times I would just like hold everything in until I couldn't anymore, and then I would just sort of like explode. And that's not healthy, by the way, but I did used to do that. Mostly because I, wasn't really taught how to express myself in a healthy way or say how I felt in a way that could be understood and validated, and didn't have that proper kind of upbringing. So for myself, it was just easier to swallow things and keep quiet and do what was expected and don't make too much noise. Sound familiar? So when I started working with my own throat chakra, it started with yoga teacher training because of the kirtan. And at one point, they actually had us like get up in front of our fellow friends or classmates, if that's what you want to call them, and sing. And oh my gosh, like, it was so terrifying to me. And for the longest time, anytime that I would sing to people in Shavasana or just in general, I would find that I would shake a lot. Like, it was overwhelming for my body to let things out, and especially singing. I don't know exactly what that was. I don't know if I picked up some message and internalized it for a long time that I wasn't a singer, that I'm not a good singer. I don't know when it started and I don't know where it started. I just know I had it, and it's been a process. Like, I'm still learning how to find my voice with that. I do find ways to use my voice now that don't involve singing, of course, but that really taught me a lot about how blocked I have been or had been for most of my life in my throat. And I do find that many of us women are. I've done Reiki on countless women, and there are so many times that I will see imagery of like a jail, like bars. Someone's throat is locked up, and I'll see it in my mind's eye. And then when I talk to them afterward about it, after our session, they can usually validate what I found or what I felt from the experience. And then, of course, I offer up suggestions on how to work with that. And I think that's what Saraswati says to us right here, right now, as women, as creatives, as people trying to reclaim our voices. She says your words are sacred. Your voice is unstoppable. And like, no matter how much culture tries to box you in, your truth will flow because you can't be silenced. You are speech itself. So when you hesitate to write the thing or to sing the song or to post the poem, Saraswati is the whisper that says, do it anyway. What is that quote? Tell the truth even if your voice shakes, or something like that, right? There's something so powerful about that. And when your voice shakes, she says, good, that's the river moving. I imagine if Saraswati herself could retell her story today, that she'd say something like this. I was never just a wife. I was never just the quiet goddess in white. I am the river that flows, whether you like it or not. I am the song you can't get out of your head. I am the first cry of a newborn child, the protest chant on the street, the truth spoken in the middle of a lie. I am not yours to control. I am Saraswati, and I will always speak. I would like to think that many of us women can relate to that we are not just these passive little mice in a man's story. I don't ever want that for you. I want you to have your own story. You deserve to be the main character, and you deserve to use your voice, and you deserve to write, and you deserve to sing, and you deserve to speak, and you deserve to be heard, because that is what the throat chakra is also about, listening, just as much as it is about saying the things. But you deserve to speak your truth. Stand up for what's right. Your voice is so powerful. And my hope for you is that you'll start using it more if you're not already. But I do have a little ritual for us, of course. And yes, this ritual will be in the show notes. So feel free to go back, take a peek if you forget what to do. It's very simple. Yet again, I do like to keep these more simple just because I know none of us has like tons and tons of time to just be like, yeah, let me just dedicate my life to, doing these rituals. You have kids, you have families, you've got all these things going on. So, and oftentimes you've got jobs as well. So this is a ritual for invoking Saraswati's energy. The first thing we're going to do, as we do with every ritual, is set the space. So lighting a white candle or sitting near water if possible. You're going to also need a notebook and a pen and keep that near you. The next thing you're going to do is just hum. Just hum a sound that feels freeing in your throat. I don't care if it's a song. I don't care if it's just a sound. I truly do not care what you hum. Just make the sound in your voice, okay, in your throat. Once you feel good with your hummed song, you're going to let it flow. And this is where you either write, sing, or speak for 5 minutes without censoring yourself. So no editing, no backspacing, no reading over it while you're writing it, or even if you misspell a word. One of my most favorite things I learned from The Artist's Way with the morning pages is I don't care if you misspell a word. You can either just cross it out at that moment or just let it be misspelled. Like, just let it be there. Who cares? I mean, you're not going to be publishing this thing, so who cares? Honestly, you're not going to care. Like, if someone finds your journal and reads it after you pass on, are you really going to care? Like, I'm not going to give a crap if there's something misspelled in my journal, you know? I hope you don't either. So just let Saraswati's river pour through you in whatever way feels good to you in that moment. There is no wrong way to do it. After that, you're going to offer it. So place your notebook or your voice or even your silence before the candle or water, acknowledging this too is Saraswati. This too is sacred speech. And then you'll close with gratitude by thanking her and blowing out the candle or just sending gratitude to the water and sealing the ritual. So again, this ritual is not at all about perfection. The biggest thing that this ritual is about is permission. So giving yourself the permission to just let the words, the sounds, the truth flow. Like zero judgment. If nobody is around you and nobody is reading what you're writing and nobody's around you to hear you sing or hum or speak for 5 minutes, then the only judgment is you. The only one who's judging you is you. And why would you want to do that? You wouldn't want to do that to yourself. You love yourself, don't you? You love that little child inside of you, don't you? Let them have a moment. Let them speak. Let them play like creatively with the voice a little bit. It's okay. You have my permission. If you need someone's permission, you've got my permission to do that, okay? But, ultimately, this is Saraswati's gift, and your voice is a gift. So use it. There is so much that I love about Saraswati. But I think one of the things that I love the most about her is that she shows us that patriarchy can try to rewrite, restrain, and sanitize feminine power, but it will always fail because truth, voice, and wisdom all have a life of their own. So the next time you feel silenced or you second guess your creativity, I want you to remember that you are the river. You are the voice. And like Saraswati, you cannot be stopped. If today's episode stirred something inside you, share it with a fellow goddess, a soul sister, or a babe ready to rise. And as always, you can follow me for more Sacred Rebellion on TikTok and Instagram at Sovereign with Natalie. And for deeper resources and free rituals, you can sign up for my emailing list at www.sovereignsanctuary.space. And you have my word that I will not spam you. I just want to send you one email, maybe 2 at most per month. And before we wrap up, join me next week because we're stepping into the crossroads with Hecate. She's the torchbearer, the witch mother, the keeper of the keys, and I am so excited to dive into her magic with you. And until next time, stay powerful, stay sovereign, and keep rising because, babe, the world doesn't need you quiet. That's your divine download for the week. If this episode lit your fire, share it. Leave a review and subscribe so the flame keeps burning bright. If you want more Sacred Rebellion, you can come find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sovereign with Natalie. Remember, you are the storm. You are sovereign. Stay wild, stay sacred, and keep rising.